we're live.
It was some shady going on too, boy.
Yeah, God Valley has been it's been a ride. Let's cook up, boys. OPU, we do what we do. We are here. The OPU podcast, episode 65. We are allegedly live. You know, I like to wait, but when preach say we live, that means we live. And we are live. Yes, sir. All right. God Valley is over, but the flashback is not. However, I think that we will spend the bulk of our time talking about God Valley because of how it ended and just going forward. So, fellas, OPU episode 65, One Piece chapter 1166. How we feeling? JJ.
You know, feeling great. Firstly, I'd like to say thank you for spending your afternoon with OPU. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. We appreciate it. I'm really intrigued with the end of God Valley. I feel like, you know, it kind of just, I wouldn't say petered off, but like once Rocks took that form, it was like we just had to hurry up and finish everything up. So I'm kind of surprised with how I feel like abrupt the ending was, but I feel like we say that with a lot of these. I don't know if it's just flashbacks, but Wano and Egghead things just, you know, seem to just be turned up and then it's just over. I was really surprised because I was just expecting a little bit more. Listen, I come into the God Valley flashback checking on Whitebeard, checking on Kaido. And the fact that I only got like a panel of them just staring off and Kaido just flying away like the goofy that he's been all this thing, I'm a little bothered by it. But it was a great flashback, and man, I think we need to figure out a way of writing a eulogy for Rocks as we sit here through this stream because he deserves it. You know, I always get recommended the eulogy that Preach did for Eustace once Shanks put them hands on him. That gets recommended to my YouTube all the time. It blows me away. But
I did that.
Seriously speaking, we may need to get one for that boy Rock.
I respect it. Yeah, I think that Rocks definitely deserves some kind words for him and his family. Let me hear it, Preach.
Yeah, speaking of that video, bro, that was like one of the only chapters where I have to do a chapter review. That Shanks kid stuff was so crazy, bro. But now this chapter was cool. There's a lot of stuff where I don't know, because one thing in my mind, and we'll probably get into it, but it's kind of interesting. I know it's 20, 30 years later. I think even 40 years later with God Valley, but the thing of like Garp, and then he gave the key to Dragon, but he wouldn't do the same thing with Ace. And I know it's like a whole different situation, but I know it's a different situation because they're trying to lure in the Whitebeard pirates. But I was just like, man, like, it's kind of hard to watch considering what we know what happened with Ace. But besides that, like, I really love the chapter overall.
For sure, man. Garp, man, we'll talk about it. You know we gonna talk. It's like Garp got to get a segment every week just for him, bro.
I'm about to say Garp was definitely the standout of this chapter. Like from one where between Sengoku and Dragon. Huh?
So I'd even say the art.
I mean, Rocks was here. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
but,
yeah,
you know,
you're right.
A close second place. Because Rocks was such a big character. Like we ain't really spent no time on Roger. You know what I'm saying? And we was fine with it because my man showed up and killed the Admiral before we seen anything. Like Rocks was amazing, but Garp was definitely second place. Had Yonko's running for fear. Like Garp changed the whole story.
Well, I'll say this. I think the difference between why the Garp stuff is a welcome addition because we knew this was a Rocks flashback, and Rocks did show up and exceed expectations to me. I just didn't expect so much from Garp. Like that moment you was just talking about having the Yonkos running, like, dude, that's nuts. But Zane, what you got?
Yeah, man. I actually really enjoyed this chapter, although, like JJ said, it was a little it seemed a little rushed. But not in a really bad way, but enough to where it's like you got to acknowledge it. But yeah, man, I like how it concluded. You know, it's sad to see Rocks go, but we all knew it was inevitable. So, yeah, man,
I
overall
think
good chapter to
that
me. I thought
yeah.
it was like a 9 out of 10. Sorry, I didn't mean to
Oh,
interrupt you right there.
no, I thought you was done. That's me. I jumping the gun. I think that Odo got to the end of God Valley. He said, "Oh shit, this is about Harold." So he had to go ahead and snap it back quickly, and it felt a little abrupt. Because that's why, like, at some point, he was like, maybe Harold shows up to God Valley or something. But nah. Anyway, though, it worked out. I think this was a very good chapter, and I agree with some of the sentiments about it feeling a little rushed. I'm definitely with y'all with that in some regards. Though I think that for a flashback, it was fine because I think that the problem really is that we just got way more than we usually get for a flashback. So when he kind of returned back to his normal speed for a flashback, it felt like, oh shit, yeah, it was a little bit of a rushed ending. Wow. Okay. But yeah. Anyway, what's the first big topic y'all boys want to hit, man?
There's a good amount.
I mean, we could just go into Garb if you want.
All right, Garp. Garp. It's like the Garp situation has been such a roller coaster for him this whole arc that it's been amazing to see. And it's a testament to, like I said, a good written character causes debates like these. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he was
Yep.
vindicated last chapter, and now it's like, bro, what? It's like now it's a whole another thing. Like, but it's not. I don't think this is really all that crazy. Like the situation with Dragon and Ace is completely different. Ace was at Impel Down, and like I said, they were trying to lure in Whitebeard, but it's just I don't know, bro. It's just like I said, seeing Ace and how that ended, it's kind of tough to watch this.
I think that
But do
go
you
ahead,
not
JJ,
have
go
an
ahead.
understanding? Like, Dragon followed what Garp wanted him to do. But it's like now that I'm here, it's like, bro, I can't stay here no more. Like it's very different circumstances. I imagine if Ace would have been in the same circumstances Dragon was, Dragon would have been just as lenient. But you chose to be a pirate. The best line of Marineford is when Garp is sitting there crying, like, "Why you ain't live how I told you to live?" Like I could work with you under certain circumstances, but you know who your father is. You know who you're under the leadership of. We can't just let you go into these circumstances, bro. You did it to yourself.
Yep.
That's facts. I think that we all have been asking for what do you call it? An interaction between Garp and Dragon. We wanted it during God Valley. We didn't get it, but we got it. I'm a little disappointed. I'm gonna keep it real. I wanted more than just or what does it say in the official for
Pay.
I didn't read the
okay.
official yet.
Pay.
But I just wanted a little bit more than that. I wanted Garp to kind of, because I'm okay with the stance of somebody needs to protect the weak ones. That's facts. It's true. But I need more from Garp as far as understanding why Dragon is doing what he's doing, or at least a conversation that kind of dives into that dichotomy of their thoughts, because what Dragon is about to do is massive. He's finna start something worldwide, and it's like Garp is just still sitting along playing the game the right way. I say that with apostrophes, and I just needed a little more. But it seemed like they probably did make up, right? Because if for Garp to have Luffy, for Garp to have Luffy, they had to talk with that. And then I kind of don't take this the right way, but a lot of people think that, like, when Garp was like, when he was talking to Luffy, he's like, I heard you ran into your old man. A lot of people say that, but that mean the Dragon had to tell him that. But no, I'm pretty sure Smoker would have told the top brass, like, the leader of the Revolutionary Army was at Logtown. So I don't think they had to be communicating for that to have been the case. But I feel like they had to make up a little bit for Garp to have Luffy.
I feel like they did communicate at that point, But at the same time, Garp could just look at everything that happened at Logtown and just be like, "Oh, Dragon did that." Once he knows Garp knows what Dragon's fruit is. We don't, so he could just hear the story from Smoker and then put two and two together. Or at the same time, Smoker could just say that, just as you did. But I imagine, like we said, that was close to 40 years ago. There's no way that they didn't have a conversation. But with the emotions that they have, with the circumstances that they're dealing with, added to the fact that they're monkeys, like Luffy don't speak unless he needs to speak. I remember I would just tell people, all he would say is, "I'm gonna kick your ass." Like that was what Luffy was saying the first 30 episodes. Like that's all I really wanted to say. So when it came to dialogue, I'm not expecting nobody in this family to be saying a lot. Even when we see Dragon up to this day, we ain't never just seen him just say like 4 sentences. It would just be like 1 to 2 lines, and then we listening to Sabo and Ivankov. The Monkey D family are short worded. That's just who they are.
Music, because they can't talk, at least in Luffy's case. They don't know many words. But yeah. Will of Dreams, what's good? Tornado, appreciate y'all too for coming through, man. I still think that, they're short worded, but come on, dog. That's it.
They
I
was in
know.
the emotion, bro. If you sitting here with your girl and y'all just had one of the come on, God Valley is the most traumatic thing Dragon ever experienced. This ain't the time to have a conversation about what's right and what's wrong. Dragon ain't gonna hear none of it. But give him a decade. Let him join the Freedom Fighters. Let him put some tattoos on his face. Maybe he'll be willing to have a conversation later on. You know what I'm saying? But as of right now, emotions is too high. Emotions is too high for Garp because he just put the beats on Sengoku a couple of panels ago. But he had to chill it out. He know he gonna see his son. He know his son gonna feel some type of way. And if I match your emotions, then we both just gonna be mad. Bro, take these keys. Figure out what you gonna do. I'll holler at you later.
That's facts. That's perfectly put. That's put, yeah. Shout out to fucking Sengoku. This dude just sucks ass, bro. The way he talked in this chapter just reinforced everything I hate about this nigga, bro. Like seriously, man.
But
The Buddha?
His reasoning is I can't do nothing down here. But once I'm up there, maybe I can, only to find out that he had the power, still wasn't able to do nothing. So he's like, "Yo, I quit." And then they like, "Nah, you can't quit, bro." Like,
well, I don't understand.
Man,
Like, you can't just ask Kong, like, are Garp and Sengoku not close to Kong? I thought, because I'm assuming, I know Garp kind of is, because we saw when Kong tried to promote him and he didn't even want to. But it's like, bro, like, you have someone right there who's been dealing with the Gorosei, with Emu for their entire career. Why don't you just go ask them if being Fleet Admiral can really do anything? Or are you just going to be a slave?
Very obvious that at some point it sets in that you cannot accomplish anything. And this is why I go back and I respect Garp, because he knew that climbing the ladder would, if anything, would put me in less of a position to make a change for those at the bottom, versus Sengoku, who just wants to climb the ladder for personal gain at some point, because is this nigga, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
how about this?
Okay, I kind of understand, like, Garp, if he's, he's kind of the way, because the way they phrased it was like Garp will be kind of with everyone else who's at the bottom of the ranking, and he's kind of a man of the people of the Marines. And then Sengoku is closer to them. I kind of understand, like, how it could work. And then Sengoku he kind of has the ears closer to Emu and the Gorosei. He understands what's going on, their true intentions. But the thing is, we've never seen Sengoku like conspire against them. We've never seen him give any of that information to Garp or Dragon. And maybe he has, but like we haven't seen that. So it's just kind of hard to justify when Oda's never really pointed in anything in that direction.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like for Sengoku, it just doesn't work for me, because I think that it's a real world thing. A lot of times we climb the ladder. I think a lot of people come into organizations like these bright-eyed, thinking about like changing the world their own way or changing stuff from within. But like I've said plenty of times before, you can't fix something from within that is working as it's intended to work. And I think at some point, Sengoku kind of just falls in line and is like, you know what? It's just what it is. I'm gonna just do me. But somebody got to put their foot down at some point. And arguing against the people that do that is the issue for me personally. Dude in the chat is wilding. Jesus Christ. He said the only people in Luffy's family that are doing things beneficial for the world are Luffy and Sabo. Otherwise, Dragon and Garp sucked ass as characters. Dragon?
I'm like, what is Sabo doing that Dragon isn't doing? Other than like
exactly, like
Sabo's making moves off Dragon's notion. I'm trying to put it together, but I need you to help me out, sir. Help me out.
Precisely.
But,
and I do want to.
So like, let's talk about Sengoku. Like, Dragon may have not had the thought process that he had about not wanting to move up until he was watching Sengoku go through everything that he's go through. Like, at this point of the story, Garp is still a vice admiral, right? He's already at that point, right?
Yeah, he's a vice. Yeah.
Yeah, he's already at that point. So he wouldn't know that, I can't do what I want to do until he sees Sengoku take that rise and realize, even with you still being there and you still wanting to make change, nothing's being done. I would think, him being with Sengoku is part of him having that understanding in present day. But, if he's able to have those conversations with Kong about what's able and what's not able to work, and he should have had these conversations with Kong about knowing what those celestial dragons been doing every 3 years. So I still kind of feel like there's somewhat of a gap in communication in regards to the fallen rank, as Garp would say.
I agree, and I did want to. Are we good on the Garp cover? We can come back to it, but I do want to transition to talking about the fight in totality between Garp and Roger versus Rocks. Y'all cool with that?
Definitely.
Cool with it.
Okay.
I was happy to see at least Rocks died being himself instead of being controlled. It was sad to see him go, but at least he went as himself. So he seemed to be happy with the way he went out as well, which is kind of weird to say, but.
So let me ask y'all this question: the fight in whole, because I see Tornado made this point. The fight itself, Graja and Garp versus Rocks. How we feel about it? Was it a good fight? Or did we leave desiring more? I'll start with you, Zane.
It was a good fight. Like, don't get me wrong, it was definitely a good fight. But I really wish we could have got some extended sections of it, at least. Because this is Garp and Roger and Rocks we're talking about. This is like the pinnacle. So, maybe Oda's saving it for later down the line, but I really would have liked to see more of them just actually fighting. I know it's a manga and you can't really draw it out too much, but I don't know. I'm not underwhelmed or anything. I just would have preferred more. Just my opinion.
That's fair. What is this obsession with, like? I feel like when One Piece fans don't like something, I'm not talking about none of y'all. They want other people to not like it so bad. Look, if y'all ain't fucking with the flashback or the fight, cool, bruh. That's you. And with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and say how I feel. I like the fight. At least the moments, I think, but overall, I feel that the way that they took out Rocks, basically just being more hockey, was very disappointing to me because I go back to what Gabon was telling Luffy. He's like, watch the way you utilizing your Conqueror's hockey. Just for it to be used more hockey, that's two very different things. Like,
I mean,
And that's
maybe
just like,
Gabon knows more than
and
Roger at
that's
that
fair.
point.
I would say that maybe along their travels, Luffy and not Luffy, Roger, Gabon, and Ray ran into more Holy Knight situations or whatever, and learned more about defeating the Holy Knights and taking them down. But just from
That's right.
just that, I just feel like if there was a different way to defeat Dama Reversi people or the Holy Knights, then I would have liked at least to learn an inkling of it from this fight. Like if you want to tell me that Roger and Garp just pulling all their hockey together was enough to take down Rocks, I would believe that any day of the week because it's fucking Roger and Garp. But now we finna go watch Zoro fight and Luffy. They're not Roger and Garp. You know what I'm saying? At least not yet. So
Yeah.
like, can I get
But they're not
more
fighting Rock.
ways? What'd you say?
That's it, but they're not going to fight somebody on the level as Rocks. Everybody that's on that island right now that they're going to have to deal with basically got cut in half in the God Valley flashback. You know, Garland, his body parts was all over the island. Summers, we
Yeah,
saw what
evil, though.
Rayleigh did to him. So we already know that these guys ain't going to be who Rocks was. But then for us to have to think that Luffy and Zoro, them are going to have to be at that level. To answer your initial question, I feel like what we got from the fight is fine. I was expecting more lore wise. Like, I'm still of the mindset of like, Scopper Gabon showed up in Summers like piss his pants. Why? There's no reason for that we've seen in God Valley. Maybe something else will come on. Maybe you always got to give Oda some grace because he withholds things purposefully. So maybe we get more on that. But in regards to the particular fight, you know, we literally got, in my opinion, the three strongest non-devil fruit hockey users like probably ever, out excluding the voice century, the three strongest hockey users ever. And we was able to see them literally destroy Island. Yeah, we didn't get to see everything of it, but when you compare this flashback to other flashbacks, you got way more detail. Like I said, the ending was rushed, but everything in between I feel like was fine.
That's true. I agree with that. I guess it feels like in One Piece we got so many different fighting. I ain't gonna say fighting styles, but like things that haven't been kind of expanded on, like the voice of all things. You got the breath of all things, which I guess is an extension of that. Then just hockey in general and its origins and all of that. So maybe at God Valley, with those three greatest hockey users of all time, or at least post Joy Boy era, I would have thought that we would get some of our mysteries solved, or at least alluded to. But the fact that it just came down to use more hockey was disappointing to me because I'm like, at some point, like, does everything just have to be used more hockey?
Yep.
Feels like that post time skip.
That's exactly how I feel.
I'm not a fan of that. Not a fan of. I mean, and I do think it's a little like when people like compare pre and post time skipping is like, well, now post time skip is just literally just if you got stronger hockey, you win. I think that for the most part, pre time skip fights outside of Luffy versus Usopp are still like, you know, if I can hit you, the stronger punch is going to win. It's really the same thing, but not that it's just hockey. It's just a little disappointing to me overall. But obviously, like the things I mentioned, like breath of all things, voice of all things, have to be expanded on, and they will be. And I'm not saying they have to be combat related, but it's gonna be expanded on. I just would have liked the Roger and Garp and Rocks fight to be where that happens because you're not gonna get too many opportunities with people of that caliber fighting to see these things expanded on. So why wouldn't it have been then? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like if you give away too much now, Oda's doing everything in his power to keep the One Piece from you, to keep all those. And I just think the more that you give people, the more that people are able to run with. Like I feel like with it being Roger and Garp being of the same kin as Luffy, their explanation is going to be about as simple as it gets. Just like you said, use more hockey, mass, like what, whatever. But like once we get some people, you know, a Robin to talk to a scopper, and they're able to, you know, put it more eloquently, I think we'll be able to see more. I hope at least.
And that I liked what
I
Tornado just said about the mass thing, referring to the 21 grams or so. I think that that's very possible. I just think at some point, look, we getting so far into One Piece, some mysteries in these need to be starting to be solved or explained. And me personally, what I learned, what my theory came from with the mass and the 21 grams of soul thing, I go back to the Black Blade stuff. I think that when you create a Black Blade, you are sacrificing some of those grams of your soul and pouring it into a blade. That's why they're permanently stained, in my opinion. So that little tidbit of information was enough to start theorizing with. But for the most part, I think that in a arc, or at least in a flashback, that could have gave you so much meat, pause, to chew on for theory wise. I feel like we was left lacking a little bit. Now, as far as hype goes, I think it lives up. You know what I'm saying? Like, seeing that fight was great. But, I just feel like I expected to leave here with a lot more. I don't need things confirmed, but I need things at least being alluded to. Like, because we see Roger and Garp we see Rocks using what was presumably the voice of all things, but it's still just as much of a mystery as before. So it's like, damn, can we start getting some questions answered? I'm not being patient, but stop. Yeah, and that's a perfect thing. Let's stop adding new shit without explaining nothing from before. Like, at some point, some questions have to be answered before you start adding more and more questions, because a lot of shit just start getting lost. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think we're gonna start getting those type of answers until like Shirahoshi and Momonosuke become relevant again. Like,
these bums.
That's hey man. If she didn't communicate with with those Sea Kings, we wouldn't have no story. If Momonosuke didn't communicate with Zunisha, I wouldn't say, we can't say we have a story to that regard, but I just feel like once we get those answers and get those people and their importance to the innate skills that they was born with, I think that's what's going to naturally answer these questions. But I'm not expecting, honestly, like stuff that's going to help us in the future of the story. I'm not expecting us to learn that information from the past. I'm expecting the people from the past to be in the present to show us what we need from the future, for the future, if you feel me.
Yes, sir.
Facts. What's good, Akuma Aaron? It has been a very long time. Appreciate you for coming back. Y'all remember Akuma Aaron? It's been a while. It's been a while. We missed you. But yeah,
notifications on. Stop playing, man.
Yeah, every Sunday with it now. If there's a chapter, if it's not a chapter day, so it's a coin flip. But if there's a chapter, we will stream. We'll be streaming. Preach. What you got? What you got
as
for
far
the
as the fight? Yeah. I think we touched on it a bit last time. It's because of how Oda went with the whole Dami Reversi situation. It's nothing what I expected. So it's just from that standpoint, like I wasn't even trying to compare it to my own expectation, because now we have a situation where Rox isn't even fighting in his actual state. So now we have to look at it for what it is. I kind of do wish we could have seen more of just like actual Rox before that Dami Reversi, just to see more of his actual abilities and fighting. And I think that would have been really cool, but we didn't get it. So from what we got, it's honestly, I'm not like a big fan of the Dami Reversi. It's cool, but it's just the way it's being used so much in this arc, and I feel like we're gonna see more of it too. That's the thing. So I think it's kind of it just, I don't know, bro. It just, because the thing is, you're really simplifying a character. You're giving him a lot of you're making him overpowered, but just if every fight is gonna be kind of similar, it just, I don't know, bro. It kind of seems a little boring. For someone like Rox and how powerful he is, to reduce him to just a very like I I don't know, like brutish state where he's just kind of swinging his sword around and he's dealing damage. He still has those instincts to react, but it's just not rocks. It's a whole different like it's a whole different being in that state. So from that perspective, I'm not really a big fan of that. As far as actual fight, like Garp and Roger interacting, that was really cool. Um, Seeing their combined attack, I really like that final attack. You had the Ace and Luffy references. You had that whole panel was that's one of the best panels that we've seen of Rocks and or not Rock Garp and Roger. So there was highs and lows to the fight. It's not like the greatest fight ever, but I can see how it can be disappointing for people just because it is Roger, Garp, and Rocks. But I would say overall, it's like probably like a 7. It's like a good fight, but it's just nothing it's nothing mind blowing. Like you would expect like a 10 out of 10 with these characters.
Is it better than Zoro versus King?
Absolutely not, bro. It's not even close. Not even close.
Wow, bro.
Not even close is crazy.
It's not.
Manga
What you
Zoro
talking?
Wait,
versus
wait.
King?
Wait, if we're talking about the
Zoro and
anime,
King is like
then
is a 10
obviously.
out of 10 fight.
Manga Zoro versus King versus manga Rocks and Roger versus Garp.
The one King of Hell panel dookies on everything that happened.
Man, get the fuck out of there, man. All right.
King of Hell all by himself.
It was fun. Shout out to OPU. We do, man.
The thing about Zoro and King's fight is it was an actual drawn out fight.
Roger and Rocks versus
In the manga?
or Rocks versus Roger and Garp is like a 7 or 8 for me. Zoro and King is one of the best fights in One Piece.
Bruh, it's not even one of Zoro's best fights.
What the?
Your boy King was using his head as a torpedo. He was letting Zoro attack him and like just laughing at him. Like that was fun. Like,
that's what I mean. Of like we didn't get to see
bro.
much of Rox's actual like character and personality and fighting style. Like even King and seeing him kind of fling himself around the island and just blowing up every time he launches himself, and him flying around like using his devil fruit, using all his different abilities, Lunarian abilities. Like that fight just from King's side alone was already just cool seeing how he fights. And that's what I think we're lacking with Rocks.
Man, fuck King.
What do you mean? Bro, King was a dope character. What are you talking about?
Ass.
Why is he
King's
ass? What the
background was cool, but King of now? First of all, your name is King and you don't got Conqueror's Hockey. That's already a fucking red flag. Do the ball.
You a king and you're not even the leader of your own crew.
Like, come on, bro. You ain't no king.
I'm not with you, but that just had to be said. I just had to say it. But I ain't with you.
But he didn't.
But I was
Kaido named him, bro. So it's like
he should have said, you know what, brother? I can't even use that little special kind of hockey y'all be having. So I'd rather not take the King name. I'll be Ace or whatever. But King don't fit me. That's what I would have said in that situation. But I'm a conqueror personally, so I wouldn't even.
You want to call him 10 of Diamonds or something? Like, stop playing the man.
Joker or something. I know Dofi was Joker, but
Joker was taken.
Something. He can't be the king not using King's hockey. It's literally King's hockey. We barely see them use regular armament hockey. But you the king? Boy, get out of here, man.
Was that moment in the manga where Zoro's like, oh, so he's dodging him even like when he realized he's kind of worried about Zoro's strength just off the fact that he has to go into his defensive mode.
Bro, that nigga ass. I think, but my issue.
Why you hate King?
He's not weak. He's not weak. It's just that fight was not that. The manga, the anime carries that fight.
I love that fight, bro.
Hard.
I love the story too.
Manga, that shit is so underwhelming.
No, it's not, bro.
But like, no, bro.
The storytelling alone between the comparison between Zoro and King, like the way they're set up with their crew. And King is like kind of a failure of Zoro if you think about it. But he had the same dream and same loyalty to Kaido that Zoro had. And then like the whole design with like the comparison of Zoro and King is also cool. You got like King is like a fallen angel. Zoro's the demon. There's a lot of cool little references, and overall, I think Oda did a good job with that fight.
That shit sucks, bro. Shout out to the anime.
It
Though.
had to
It was
be
pretty.
black for him to lose,
It was.
though.
It was dope in the anime, but
Oh, and the anime
I
is a
will
10. It's
say-
an easy 10.
yeah, I mean, it was it was something. But
Easy 10.
my question, the last chapter, the last episode, 1062, I think it was, easy 10. I say that. But,
King Yonko. That's what we should call him. Yonko the King. King
that
the
nigga
Yonko.
was Joy Boy level in the anime. That was just doing shit, bro. He got-
Bro, that attack he did where he like did 2 halos behind him and then
looking
fired
like
off.
Sephiroth in the air, bro.
Bro, that was probably the cleanest attack in One Piece history, bro.
Like, what anime was y'all read? Y'all could do shit like that for King, but can't even make Sanji run as fast as he's running in the fucking manga, bro. That's the shit I be talking about with Toy. That's why I don't like these motherfuckers.
I told you the star arrived. What you want from him?
It's so wild.
The one thing I'll give credit to Oda with the rocks and with this whole fight was I really like the interaction, like the way that Garp and Roger were fighting together and their dialogue and everything. I really wish we would have seen something more like this with Luffy and Law when they fought Dofi. Because basically what we seen was Law fight Dofi and then Luffy kind of steps in. We didn't see them really kind of fight together. But I don't know, their whole dynamic was the best part of that fight by far.
Here's my concern about where that fight leads to a future in One Piece. If everything just comes down to being who has stronger hockey, then, and this is not like all jokes aside, not to slander like Zoro or whatever, but I don't want Zoro versus Mihawk to just be my hockey is stronger, so I'm stronger than you. Like that, I just would not like that.
But you know what's going to happen. Mihawk is going to come in with the stronger hockey, but Zoro's going. That's what Rayleigh already taught us. You know, those battles are the things that build you to who you're supposed to be. So Katakuri was the stronger hockey man until Luffy's will broke him down. That's how 90% of these fights are going to go, I imagine. The person that you think is going to... Go ahead.
When you're talking about just defeating like somebody that's standing in front of you, I think that works. But when we're talking about mastering a discipline and becoming the world's strongest swordsman, then if it's just my hockey is stronger than yours, then what the fuck stop Garp from being the world's strongest swordsman by just picking up a sword? Like I feel like when you get to where you're kind of neglecting all the other aspects of these battles and just making it such and such has stronger hockey, so he's stronger. And this is not in no way to prop up a Shanks versus Mihawk discussion. This has nothing to do with that. But if I'm gonna be the world's strongest swordsman, then it should just be more than my hockey is stronger than yours. Like I think there should be much more to the fight than just that.
But when you're dealing with the world's strongest swordsman, aren't you imagine them guys technically to already be the top of the tier? So it really would be nothing else.
They probably will
hockey
be.
Situation.
They probably will be that. But the thing is, we can already, because before Zoro even learned hockey, I would assume Zoro was in the top echelon of the world as far as just straight up sword skill. But we can assume that, yeah, Zoro and Mihawk will have top tier hockey. But is it going to be explored? Is it going to be emphasized in the fight? I'm not confident that it will be. It damn near might be a clash. They're going to split the sky. They're going to clash a few more times. Motherfucker get sent flying. In the final panel, they're going to run at each other. And it's going to end with Zoro standing. And that just will leave a sour taste in my mouth. Damn near, but the opposite. But at least in Barache, it felt like Mihawk was like, they don't even feel like if Mihawk probably did he use hockey? I doubt it. But that just felt like the frog in the well, know your place thing was such a dope lying to me because it just emphasized like Zoro is just ignorant to the world. He don't know nothing, and you the fact that you even think you can fight me, let me know how fucking stupid you are right now. But like now that we got all the information and shit, it kind of just goes back to okay, stronger hockey means I win. Why am I trying to be the world's strongest swordsman? I just need to be the world's strongest hockey user. If that's the case, I shouldn't even give a fuck about swordsmanship.
Well, Oda did it to himself, bro.
I'm just yelling at the cloud.
And
He did.
that's kind of what I've been worried about with, because I've never been a big fan of hockey until like Wano. But I think maybe actually the Katakuri fight was pretty cool. But like besides that fight and then Wano, before that I was like, bro, hockey, I feel like it's kind of changing the entire way we look at One Piece fights. Because now you have a situation where you had devil fruits, you had a lot of cool abilities, and even like the lower tier fights, they would always be like Usopp fights. They would win those fights in kind of funny or creative ways, interesting ways. And now it's getting to the point where it's what you said, it's literally just who has stronger hockey or like who has just a completely overpowered devil fruit.
Mm-hmm. Newport Poppy, that's interesting. It says hockey is integral to every fighting style at eyes level. That's facts. I'm not saying that it's not a part of every fighting style. I'm just saying it just shouldn't erase the significance of the style itself. Why should I, let's say I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu user, right? And I've mastered my craft and I'm fighting somebody else to prove who's the best at that craft. But at the end of the day, the only reason I win this fight is because I have stronger hockey. It has nothing to do with the fact that I've been practicing and spending my whole life trying to learn how to fight in this certain style, this discipline of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So it goes back to being the world's strongest swordsman. Why the fuck does it even matter if I got a sword in my hand or not, if the outcome of the fight is decided by who has stronger hockey? And just that alone. Now, it should be a part of it. Yes, it's obviously going to be a part of it, but that shouldn't be the only thing that decides who's the world's strongest swordsman. And me personally, what I would like to see is a part where we get to the end of Zoro versus Mihawk, where both of them are just completely exhausted of hockey and stand up and just go straight. JJ, I'm a sword on sword action. You feel me?
Oh, where
that
Prince
would
at
be
with the
fire to me, bro. Shit like that is, I like, it's kind of like when Luffy ran out of hockey at the end of that fight. Was it with him and Zephyr in the movie? And they just started throwing straight hands, bro. No more hockey. And like I said, this ain't got shit to do with Mihawk versus Shanks and what hockey means for some shit. It don't got nothing to do with that. I'm just saying, for the idea of what the world's strongest swordsman is, if it just comes down to just who has stronger conquerors hockey, then that is a little underwhelming to me.
Yeah, but then if it
And
goes
shout
down,
out to the
if
people
you
that's
take
been still
out,
in my YouTube videos. Somebody else, bro, after the first one, somebody else sent me another one that has like the exact same title and like thumbnail of my video, bro.
but then because if you take out hockey, doesn't that just go to who has like more stamina or more physical strength at that point? Because we're assuming Zoro and Mihawk are both on the same, right? But if we're assuming they're on the same level as far as pure swordsmanship, then it really just goes down to like physical strength.
But at that point, are we still going to be assuming they're on the same level? Like, obviously, Zoro.
I assume so.
If we're going to say that Zoro is the world's strongest swordsman, then we can say that he would have stronger swordsmanship than Mihawk, or better swordsmanship, I guess. That's kind of interchangeable in the conversation.
It's hard for me to believe that Zoro would have better swordsmanship than Mihawk in that fight.
That's fault of Oda. You know why it's hard to believe that? Because the motherfucker don't fight no swordsman.
I'm not saying they can't be on the same level, but to surpass, like to be a better swordsman than Mihawk, who's fought against Shanks.
Meanwhile, you fighting against goddamn what brother name from Fishman Island?
I'm about to fight. My man's about to fight Killingham. He's gonna put the beats on Ethan. Shiryu gonna get it. Why y'all acting like y'all don't know that Zoro about to put on a hell of a show come this final saga? Y'all cut it out. We're not doing that today.
Yes, sir.
Sure, you got the fucking invisible fruit. That shit ass. Take away from the whole swordsmanship aspect. Now Ethan is gonna be that.
Kobe
Because
pushing up daisies because of that fruit. Thank God for
I'm
Garp.
just talking about his ass in regards to a sword battle. He gonna be going, but we know sure you gonna be going invisible and hiding and shit. That shit gonna come down to who got stronger hockey, bro. I'm gonna go keep it real with you. But Ethan probably will be the one because you know he got the Katetsu blade. So that's definitely gonna be a swordsmanship fight. And you say Killingham? I think Zoro
I
fights
think
Shamrock.
Sanji
for
gonna
this,
get
bro.
Summer, so Zoro got to get Killingham. I don't know who fighting. I guess Luffy fighting Gunko. I mean,
Probably that.
Gunkmu.
Speak of the devil, let's talk about the God's Knights.
Exactly.
Champion
We
of
talking about
God
Oh
Valley.
man.
Champion of God Valley, Figurlin Garland, my boy. You are under surveillance. Matter of fact, we got all the footage we need. You're not even under surveillance anymore. You are a fraud.
I don't know,
and
man.
I'm gonna take the L. You know, I got 2 L's I gotta take this week. My first L is thinking that Garling's champion title came from a place of merit. It clearly does not. Because even like if my name is Emu and I'm like trying to like reward people based off God Valley achievements, I'm rewarding him for that. For killing a man that had 1 HP. He did what the dudes did to Roger at execution, basically. That's nothing, bro. I'm nothing on that. My second L, and we'll come back to this later. For the time being, the Bogart agenda is in trouble. Gabon had to step in and bring Garp back to the ship.
That's
Bogart,
funny.
what are you doing? Why you
Yeah,
let Gabon take his spot?
I don't know what Oda's doing with Bogart, bro. Like
Your boy,
he's just got to be a
Bogart
glorified background character.
I'm sorry, Zane. I was about to say your boy.
No.
By the time everything was going down, Bogart was on the daggone Marine ship doing the Marco pose at the end of Wano. He had no time. Frank show.
I take that L because I'm thinking Bogart would have been carrying Garp and Ray. But hey, I'm not mad because guess what? Sanji upscale. Anyway, back to Garland. Brother, nothing redeeming from you at all this entire flashback. Like from a combat process. Obviously, as a person, he's a piece of shit. We knew that. But people had high hopes for you being Shanks' dad. You was going to show out in some way. Boy, you ain't did nothing. And killed the man.
Make him look.
Go ahead.
He could at least he could at least got mid-diffed by Rocks, but like every time Rocks saw him, he was left in a very bad manner. It was crazy.
Was sliding him away like a fly. He had a demon. He had an army of Dama-Reversi people running with him and still getting swatted like a fly. That man is a bum. Certified, guaranteed.
Brains literally hanging out. And he like, man, it's going to take a minute for me to regenerate from this.
Jojo. They had them like Mojo Jojo with the Powerpuff Girls. Brain hanging out his skull, bro. Getting beat the fuck up.
You know, I thought was kind of cool with the Figureland thing was because we always expect Blackbeard to be the one to come in and he'll take out Shanks or Emu or whoever in his big fights. He's gonna take out somebody once they already were weakened by like Luffy or whoever. But then we see Figureland's the one who actually got the kill on Rocks when he didn't do anything. So I thought that was kind of interesting because I don't think that's gonna say that Blackbeard will definitely kill Shanks in that way, but maybe it's something similar. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he comes in with like a sneak attack or something like that.
I've always felt that Blackbeard sweeps in after Luffy and Shanks fight and gets the kill on him. I don't think that Blackbeard is gonna be able to like really Blackbeard won't win a fair fight on our screen ever, except for against Ace. But like when it comes to a nigga like Shanks, he's not just gonna win a straight fair one against him.
Yeah,
especially since he
And
know
that-
Devil
That
Fruit.
with
Now,
Ace
and
neither though.
then
He
like
damn it didn't. with Ace,
the
you feel me?
idea of Shanks or the idea of Figlin being the one to take out Rocks, it makes me wonder, does Blackbeard know about that? Because I feel like that will kind of, it makes it more interesting if Blackbeard goes into that fight knowing, where like Blackbeard always, like he knows that they're gonna have to fight at some point, and he even said at Marineford. But if he knows, it's like it kind of brings a whole new meaning to it, as far as Blackbeard's always talking about, oh, this is like some twisted form of destiny. So I would like to see that interaction. Like, does Shanks know? Does Blackbeard know? Maybe someone else brings it up from the old generation, but
I
that'd
think
be a
that
cool moment.
I don't think Blackbeard has any form of like doing this like out of like wanting to get revenge for his dad. I think Blackbeard is just straight up.
No, I don't think it's revenge. I think it's,
I get what you said. I ain't saying you're saying he's doing it for revenge. You're saying like, it's like a twisted destiny. Like your dad killed my dad, and I'm gonna kill you. But I'm just speaking from what I feel about Blackbeard. Like from what we got from this art, you would think that Blackbeard would be going out to sea to avenge, and like we say he inherited Rox's will. I'm not so sure about that, bro. Whose will did he inherit? Was it Eris? Like just wanting to be the king of the world is cool, but Rox as the king of the world would probably have been a lot different from Blackbeard as king of the world. So
Yeah,
I
because
don't know, man. But
that's kind of funny because in this chapter they said, or I think it was Loki, he's like, you could have been Joy Boy, and I don't think anyone is saying that about Blackbeard except for maybe Whitebeard. Yeah, so
imagine. Bro, that's so trash, bro. That nigga got somebody's wheel, but it wasn't Rock, so I don't know who it was. He got Foxy wheel.
Yeah, speaking of that point, I did like I don't know what it means, but it intrigued me just off of something that you at the end of what you spoke on. Loki spoke about Rox possibly being Nika, and I was surprised for the fact that as knowledgeable as Rox is, that he didn't know who Nika was off of name. He had a conversation with Emu about Joy Boy and about Davy D. Jones, but then when Loki hit him with that Nika, he was like, "You need to elaborate. I don't know." That was surprising to me. I would figure he would have way more than we did at this point. So
I wonder if that idea that Nika like didn't exist, maybe that kind of bleeds into that. I still think Nika existed at one point though, personally. But or maybe it could have. I think if you can have one void century, I feel like there is much more history that's been erased. Like the only reason we know about just this one void century is because like we have so many people that are directly affected by it or like directly related to people. But I feel like when we talk about when those calendars that Oda kind of confirmed in the last, well, he didn't he confirmed them in the last SBS. I wonder if like everything that happened prior to that was erased too. And then like we established a whole new calendar to start the world. Then we had our void century after that. So like we like Emu just cleaning shit up, basically. You know what I'm saying?
all right. So because we're assuming that the Golly Law crew that Rox talks about is the ones from Punk Hazard, right?
Yeah.
So I want to know more. Like, how does that involve Harold and probably Loki's devil fruit? Because he said the only one who can control them is your old man. So is it because he's the king, or is it because of the devil fruit?
It's a great question. If I'm not misremembering, the conversation with the part where he was like, anyone that has that power would be your old man, right? That was referring to the Nika part.
Yeah.
But then as far as the Galilei Johns was like a different part of the combo. He was just saying Harold could have been the one to free them. I'm thinking. So maybe just
Because it seems like Rox was more interested in in Harold and the Golly Law crew. Like he's more interested in that entire lore, where it's like Nika. That's something maybe more for Roger's journey, but like the fact that Rock's putting so much importance to this, and he asked Harold to join his crew like 100 times. It wasn't just because they're friends. Like this dude wants to destroy the world, bro. He wants to destroy the celestial dragon. So the fact that he believes they have that much power, and then we're finding out Emu also kind of understands. Like if you got Harold, you got an incredible power. I don't know if Emu knows everything about Gali La, and especially that they're like the whole thing with Punk Hazard, but I wouldn't be surprised just because Vegapunk was working there and they had a whole government facility at Punk Hazard. So I don't know, bro. It's really interesting. Like what? Because we didn't even learn too much about that in Punk Hazard. Like Oda's definitely saving it, but it kind of reminds me too of like Attack on Titan, some kind of like ancient power that's just been kind of I don't know, because if they're frozen and they've been like cryogenically frozen all these years, it's just like, are they gonna be brought back? Could it be something like where like Blackbeard is the one who can use like the shadow fruits, or like Moria's fruit could maybe do something like that? I don't know, bro. There's just so many questions I've been thinking about with this.
Yeah, I think a lot of the
I mean,
lore. Go for it, big dog.
I was gonna be real short. I was just gonna say, like, I'm surprised that this even ended up being something as big as it is, just off the fact that I didn't think that Punk Hazard anything was frozen before Kuzan and Akainu was there. You know, when we got the flashback of that island, it looked somewhat tropical initially. So we got these giants frozen over here, which I thought was an effect of the fight, but obviously it was something that happened beforehand. It's just a lot that's going on with that story. But I think that those giants, no matter what the situation is, they're riding with the king of Elbath. And me just imagining Galley Law was Water 7 and a whole bunch of shipwrights. I just think that these guys can make like amazing things with the Atom Tree to like be the most destructive like people possible. That's where I'm at.
I struggle with the idea of Luffy like accepting a new ship in the play. Like, let's say we get the Galileo Giants and they want to build like, because Blackbeard probably gets the old Pluton from 1.0. I assume that makes sense, right? But let's say the
Also,
Galileo Giants are freed and they're wanting to build another ship. I just don't see it. Like Luffy, like, well, you know, let's ditch the thousand, especially after all that shit that happened with Usopp, bitch ass, crying about the ship. Like, I don't see Luffy being like, you know, let's just get Pluton and we'll just throw the Thousand Sunny to the wayside. So that makes me believe that those giants serve a completely different purpose. Excuse me, for who they're building the ship for, and maybe it's to how like the Noah was for the fishmen, so maybe them coming back could be building a ship for another race and giving them like transportation to the final war, whatever. Or it could be for the whole world. Let's say Umu does flood the world and they build a ship or they build ships or multiple ships that can just go from island to island, picking up everybody that's willing to join and fight the cause, you know, on Luffy and them side or whatever. I don't know, but I'm really confused about where we're not confused, but interested in where we're going with the Galileo Giants and if Luffy would even be willing to use that. Because half of the shit in this story, like ancient weapons and this and that, I don't see Luffy being like, oh, that sounds dope. I can use, you know, we need that. Luffy's not finna use no ancient weapon, bro, to fight nobody. He's gonna go in there and put fists on face. And if he can't beat you like that, then he's just not gonna beat you.
But the thing, it doesn't. But if he's Joy Boy and people start to realize that, and he's Nika, like they don't even. It's not even about what Luffy wants. People are just going to side with him. And if you because when you have Poseidon on your side, and now it's like he's not gonna ask for her help, but she will help him, and the Fishman will help Luffy, and they'll side with him. So now when you have Poseidon and the Sea Kings, next thing you know, The Elbaf Giants want to help Luffy. They realize he's Nika. So it's like you got a lot of people you got a lot of motion on that side, and then people just keep realizing, oh my gosh, bro, this is really Joy Boy coming back 1,000 years later. So more and more people will continue to side with Joy Boy. That's kind of how I always seen it. Like Luffy's not even going to ask for their help when he's charging into Marizua, but they're just going to realize this is finally the time to do it. And Luffy is the one guy who's going to lead it, even without asking for any assistance.
And I like the idea that Oda often like tries to like subvert expectations. I mean, I believe that the ancient weapons were never originally built to be weapons. So maybe that's why Luffy, like why Joy Boy in the past was willing to use them for whatever reason he did. But maybe they became branded ancient weapons once Emu and the other people saw a use for them as weapons. Like being able to control the Sea Kings isn't inherently for war, but it can be used for war. That's what would make Poseidon so powerful. Same thing with Pluton. Let's say Pluton is a battleship now, but maybe at some point it wasn't built for battle. It just was turned into that. So maybe it's like a perspective thing. The ancient weapons are only weapons to those who want them to be weapons. And Luffy won't use them for weapons, but those around him or those on the other side, that's what they were forced to do in the past.
Yep.
You got anything to add, Big Zane?
No, man. Went over it.
Sure. All right.
Well,
Trying to flip through the chapter.
Talk about
But
Harold.
which
We
is-
talk about the ending. We talk about that ending.
Fuck. Harold is. I'll save my thoughts. JJ, what you got for Harold, man?
Man, I'm confused. I mean, I understand, like, I understand how foolish the decision is. I just never really saw Harold like really play rocks to his chest for him to be calling him his best friend at the end. I guess I just read that wrong altogether. I felt like, they had an understanding of each other. They respected each other's strength. I guess that's, how bonds start in One Piece. But I just really didn't expect this, to take this tragedy to, warp his mind as strong as it was. Like, I don't know what to expect coming on these next chapters. If he just allowing himself to really be a slave to the celestial dragons, like the harm he could actually do to the people that he actually was, rallying for in the beginning of this flashback, is really tragic to see. Honestly, I know a lot of people, like to riff on him for whatever reasons, but I initially see a guy, who, was rugged, thugging out in these streets, had a woman teach him the right ways and really tried to be better, but just never really had a real plan about how to do it. And it just seems to keep going downhill and downhill. And boy, this spiral is awful. This spiral is awful.
I feel like.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Zane. Go ahead.
Look, Zane,
Yeah, it's the Herald thing is just kind of hard because we can say all this, but in his position, like he's leading an entire nation of people, bro. So it's like, I get where he's coming from to a certain extent, bro. But I don't know. I think he's just a little dumb, bro.
No, bro.
Like,
Harold pissed
like
me off,
literally just
Like,
dumb, bro.
How you gonna? I understand maybe like the Elbaf Giants, they do have some negative history, but bro, this is your people, and you're making them seem like bro, you gotta defend your people. If you're the king of Elbaf, and
He's proving that point
bro, like,
by
what are
doing
you
what he's doing.
Yeah, like,
And I
come
think that's
on.
why what Oda's trying to portray, though. I think he's trying to portray him as a confused character.
It has some
But it just
loyalty.
comes off as,
And I know in some
like-
ways you could say this is his way of loyalty, but it's just weird the fact that he's putting himself and putting his entire people down. And like, bro, maybe he knows something that we don't know, because it has to be, right? Because there's no way that he's ripping off his horns. Like, it has to be something with the Oni Giants. the Oni race. Because what are we doing here where he's ripping off his horns, putting down his entire history of people? And if you look at people like the Elbev Giants, they don't seem to have this type of sentiment. So it has to be something like where only Harold knows the true history of some ancient giant that just went astray and did some crazy horrible thing. Because otherwise I'm like, bro, like this is just ridiculous, man. Like I don't see how to be fair, he also does it like this also coming off the arc where we just saw Emu and everything that happened with Rocks and Emu, and he probably doesn't know everything about that, but we do know that he knows some of it because he was close with Rocks. So then on top of that, like it's like just everything he's doing doesn't seem to add up.
Man, listen.
Man, Rocks deserved a better friend. Sorry, go ahead, Krow.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
Roger. Maybe it should have been fucking Roger or somebody.
It really should have been Roger.
We call people like Harold. A word that starts with a C, ends with an N, there's 2 O's on the inside of it, all right? I'm not going to say it on YouTube because I heard they be sniping videos like that.
Talking about Stephen A. Smith?
Yeah, you feel me? Yeah, trash pandas.
I'm just reading it, bro. It means I have to be a slave, so be it. Like, what are we talking about,
what are you fucking talking about? Are you stupid?
I'm like, look at the last thing tornado just type, yo. I'm like, yo, that's the truth. Like, man said, Ida is the real villain of One Piece. Without her, Harold and Loki would be ruling the world, and Blackbeard and Loki would be best friends. Like, the truest thing said.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that this man Harold, at some point, it's just gotta click that what you're doing is not the right way to improve the reputation of the Giants. Nigga, if I'm trying to make friends with somebody and they say, you know what, you can join our little friend group, but you gotta kill that motherfucker over there. I'm not joining that friend group, okay? Maybe that's not the right friend group. Those aren't the right people that you need to be around. Bruh.
I think if he was on God Valley, that's what would have changed him over.
The fact that Fox
seeing
told
Emu
him that my family is in danger at God Valley, I'm going to save them. And then Rocks winds up dead after God Valley. Maybe, like I said, he's an idiot.
He's definitely an idiot.
I don't think Fortune's on my way, big dog. I don't think Fortune's looking good for me. He told me.
And it's not like he's just completely oblivious to anything that happened on God Valley. Like, he sat down and told my family is from there. I'm going there. And now he's dead. His best friend, allegedly. I don't know where you get, because you didn't treat him like a best friend. Whenever he pulled up to kick it with you and talk to you, you turn him away. You make him come to the outskirts of the island at some point. Don't even let him in your council no more. That's your best friend.
Probably his real best friend. His real best friend was probably Whitebeard, bro. If we're being real.
Probably.
It had to be Whitebeard.
Left him dirty too, though.
He did leave him dirty.
It made sense. At least he saw it. But
that's the one flaw for me.
It's called it's like respectability politics, man. You know, like them people that be like, man, y'all stop, like the guys you know that want you to be so well behaved, and it's like the new quarter zip trend. Clean your dress, like make sure you present it well in front of the man, because that's the reason why they look at us like, no, they look at you like that because they fucking hate you. They're nothing you can put on. There's no way that me as a young man can dress, or me as a young man can talk. There's no way I can talk. There's nothing I can do to make people that hate me and my folks stop hating me. Let's maybe focus on building our people up from within and establishing relationships with those countries out there, or those people. I'm talking from Harold's perspective now, not mine. But let's talk about building our relationships up on a personal level. Harold should have saw when he was having that famine in the Elbath and all of those countries came and were willing to offer aid, that, hey, I did all that without the world government. Let me keep going this route. I'll say
there might be a way that you could. The thing is, even if there's a way to do it, he's going about it the completely wrong way, bro. It's not by being a slave. It's not by just hating on your own people. And everything he does is like, if you're gonna do it, you gotta do it in like a Luffy way, where it's like building friendships and connections. It's not like just being, oh, I'm gonna bring my whole army to protect you guys, and there's no connection or growth there. It's just, you can just use us and we'll atone for our sins of the past. And then like on the same level, what the people from Elbaf, what did they probably don't even, they're probably, well, I'm trying to think, because how long ago was this 1,000 years of history for them? It's only what, 4 generations before. We know the giants live like 300 years, so even then, bro, it's like, what, that's your great grandfather that committed such an atrocity, but that's not on the fault of the new generation. That's not Dorian Brogie's fault of something that went so wrong during the Void Century.
And what exactly you trying to change? Like, bro, if we just being 100, bro, if I'm a human and I see a giant, bro, I'm gonna be fucking scared. I don't care if he looked, if he the nicest man in the world. This motherfucker is 6 times taller than me. I'm gonna be scared seeing it. There's nothing that Harold can do to change that. Now, obviously, having a rough reputation will not help with that. But, bro, some shit just natural, dog.
But it's just like, bro, you're not earning anyone's respect. That's the thing, bro. Like, these people are not gonna look at you with respect and a true friendship. It's gonna just be, oh, there's a few giants in the Marines. We can use them for power. Like, no one looks at John the Giant as a respectable Marine.
Bro got loaded up by white beard too.
You ain't have to bring out him.
And it's just so crazy because if Harold would have not had anyone around him telling him this stuff, then I could give him a pass. But Rox was literally trying to tell you,
yeah, like, bro,
that
like, you build
these dudes are not going to use you. They just want to use you guys for military power. They're not good people.
And
Bro.
how
Like,
crazy
what are
is
you
it that he
doing?
met Rox the day he confronted Emu? It's like, and now you're gonna join Emu?
Sneaking into the reverie and shit. What did you even think you?
I'm about to say
Yeah,
that they were
I
trying
think
to burn him and make him
Sneaking into the
that day.
the signs have been there. This man is stupid, bro. You snuck into. You the biggest motherfucker in the reverie.
Okay. Is Harold officially the dumbest character in One Piece? I think he's gone beyond
He's
Zoro
close.
levels. He's
I
gone
don't
He's
know.
beyond
gotta
Luffy
be.
levels.
He's gotta be top 3.
Like, he's beyond
mean,
Luffy
listen,
levels. Luffy has an instinct where at least he has like some kind of like intuition of what's right and wrong. Harold's just like a complete idiot, bro.
The difference, I think, is that when it comes to Luffy is dumb because he's dumb, but Harold is educated and still
He's
fucking
still
dumb.
dumb.
It's like willfully ignorant. Like, Luffy just blissfully ignorant, but Harold is willfully ignorant. So I think I would prefer blissful ignorance over willful ignorance, honestly.
Chad,
That man,
Chad,
bro,
who's the
Jesus
dumbest
Christ.
character in One Piece? I want to see if they come close to Harold.
Oh boy, I can't believe this shit. Odin, I mean, yeah, I ain't lie. Odin is pretty stupid for believing that
Odin
it was
is
going.
pretty stupid.
Like, bro,
He could twerk his way out
The
of
biggest thing with Odin, bro, is that he just didn't say nothing to nobody. Like, was there like an NDA or something that he signed before he started dancing? I doubt that. If he would have told one person,
I don't
like
even think he
Kinemon,
told his. Did he even tell his wife?
I don't think so.
Nah.
That's crazy, bro. That's
Nah.
what the fuck?
Yeah, Odin is just really an idiot, though.
Yeah, but I mean, even still though, like he was doing that to save people. So I can, if you went down the wrong route to save folks, I guess. Harold's
not even trying to save people. He's just trying to just save his own reputation of his country in the eyes
trying
of
to get along.
humans. Yeah, like I said, bro, like,
like, bro,
he's just
Get along
becoming a
with people that he
pawn for.
never had to get along with before. His people have never, they've been around since the beginning of time and never had to go along with the world government. Why is he fighting so hard to do it when he literally has dozens of countries that's already willing to work with him? Like, why he don't see what's in front of him already?
Yeah, and it's
Dumb.
like, bruh, there's no way that like you like dead ass right now, bruh. You're not dead ass, cuz you got to be trolling, bro. You want to offer yourself up as a slave. Listen, if the world government was like faking the fault, like, yo, we respect you, Giants. You know, we if they was showing him love and like trying to coddle him into joining the organization, that's different. The only communication you've had with these niggas is them telling you to kill your best friend, and you still
It's just
want
like,
to
bro,
join
like
them
you
so
ripping
bad.
and then like ripping the horns off, like, bro, like you realize that everything you're trying to do, you're trying to make them not fear and have this kind of disdain for the Giants, but you're saying you have to rip your horns off for that to even happen. It's like, what's the point then, bro?
Nobody asked for that. Nobody asked for self-mutilation. Chill.
If you gotta do all that, once again, if you gotta do all that to make some new friends, bro, maybe they're not the right friend. Man, the government, bro. It's not like you joined a gang. The government wanted you to kill some people to join them. You know how wild that sounds? Like, imagine Harold sitting down at the crib talking to Ida. You know, he was like, yeah, man, I want to join the government, but they want me to kill my best friend. She probably like, what? And you still trying to do, and you thought the fact that he even thought about killing Rocks, though, that right there was the moment I gave up on this stupid ass dude, bro.
Oh, bro.
He should have never
This is
even
so funny,
considered going to kill Rocks. There's no way you want to
not a real
join
friend,
that
bro.
bad.
That's not a real friend.
He's a bomb. Man, I can't do it.
And look, you know how angry Rocks got when Emu brought up Harold. He's like, leave them alone, bro. And that's the thing, like, there's not even a fraction of that energy being replicated towards Rocks when he's like, you got to take out Rocks.
I feel like Harold was Rocks' best friend, but Rocks was not Harold's best friend. That's really what it was. Like, that dude was fake, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was.
This nigga, I'm mad now, bro. I ain't even think about just how stupid he is, bro.
Yeah.
Man. Do we rate the chapter?
Answer me this.
I gave my rating.
Tell me this though. How does the world government give the news to the world saying that Rocks was defeated and Garp had a big part in it, but don't mention God Valley at all? Like, don't you got to have a location for these type of things?
Did they mention the island? They didn't.
The God Valley incident is like stuck together. Like that part of the world that part of the history is like not known, right?
They could have just pinned it on a fake island though. Like, you know, this happened here. I can't believe this.
See, that's facts. Like, he could have just not done anything, and it would like I would have looked at him completely different.
I would, if he would have just ignored that order or just like something. But the fact that he actually set out to sea to go kill Rocks, that's despicable, bro.
Shout out Kylan Bell in the chat.
Been very active, man.
Edith's fault. Like my boy said, this is all Edith's fault.
I would have preferred him to stay like he was, honestly, bro. Yeah, you're right.
See, that's the crazy. The fact that it is all her fault. Like, it all stems from that one moment, bro. And it's like, are we serious right now?
Like, that's the power of love, though. Shout out to Sanji upscales everywhere.
Hey, man, this is Sanji's future. I don't even want to see that.
No. Sanji controls the love. He doesn't let the love control him.
Are you sure?
Extremely. At least he gonna learn how to, you know, like a blonde does. What? Y'all ready to wrap it up?
I don't think we rated the chapters. If we did rate the chapters, I say it's like a 7.5 or something like that. Like, it was a it was a good finish to the story, but you know, like I said, the finish was kind of abrupt, and I guess I really like we got away from God Valley, I guess I really wanted to see what happened more with the like. Where did Big Mom go to? Like she had her own ship or something. Like everybody just dipped off just comfortably. I needed a little bit more of that before we got the rocks. But I mean Harold. But
Jameer Gibbs got 43 points on me.
yeah,
Of
he was
course,
balling. I'm playing against him too.
that boy is going.
It's funny how you said like he has to be trolling, bro. You don't know how many times I had to reread this last 2 pages just to make sure I understood what
So-
was happening.
I have
I'm
a
like,
question for y'all. Do y'all think that's Oda's writing, or do you think that's just Harold?
I think that's just Harold.
As
I
a
think
character, like that's how he's supposed to
um,
be portrayed.
I think that Oda is trying to really emphasize that Harold is wrong in his ideology.
Yeah.
So it's not bad writing. It's intentional writing. Like he's wrong.
Yeah.
But I think that it's gonna have to be
Lot of
some
flaws.
extreme for him to. He's gonna realize at the very end of his life, like maybe I shouldn't have done this. You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
I wonder what he's
My
gonna say
rating,
to Loki.
I wonder. My rating is a cool 8 out of 10. Though. It was a good chapter. Like good and frustrating on 2 different fronts, but excuse me, that's what I got.
Mm.
I'm gonna lower mine down. I'm gonna do an 8.5. 9 was a little extra.
I would.
I mean,
s-
we've had chapters that I don't even think we needed to rate like the past 2 months worth of chapters. Everything just been heat. I don't remember dropping numbers before because it was all just tens. Oda was on the run. It's got to calm down. We should figure once we was leaving God Valley, it was going to simmer down a bit.
Yeah, I think it's. I'll give it like a 7, but it's a good way to wrap up everything. You kind of, I mean, we wrapped everything up. Rocks. The one thing I didn't, I think I missed it. I couldn't really find it in the chapter. But was Garp traveling with the Roger pirates, or did they throw him on his crew on the Navy fleet?
They just had him laying on a bed. You don't know.
And then because I was
Everybody
wondering,
just went their own way.
Maybe Bogart actually did come and get him, and eventually.
because the only reason I was actually looking for that too is just because I was wondering, like, was Garp there when they realized that Shanks was in the chest, and that because that's kind of an interesting thing. If Garp is on the ship with them, and he's like, well, he's there since the very beginning, kind of understanding Shanks' role within this entire event. But I don't know, because then we do see Garp and Dragon, so like I'm assuming that's not like immediately after, but I don't know. I was just wondering.
Perhaps.
It's a lot to be seen if he wants to go more into it. He's got a lot of places he could go. Big Mom still got like 40 more kids to have. Whitebeard got to get his family together. He can explain a lot if he wants to. That's why we just need a God Valley movie. Stop playing.
Yep.
We need a God Valley
I
movie.
got y'all. I'm gonna email Oda after he responds to my one about the Sanji Conquerors Haki. I think he's just taking his time and responding to me. But when he responds to that, I'm asking about the movie for God Valley.
That
Hey, listen,
we've been
man,
waiting, bro. So hurry up.
I felt like once Roger and Garp said we need a mass of Conquerors Haki to do the thing, I was like, yeah, Sanji about to unlock this arc. It's going down when he get up there.
Hey man, I can't wait.
It's going down.
All right, y'all ready to wrap it up?
Yeah.
Yes,
The
sir.
rap, great stream.
I appreciate y'all for coming through. OPU, we do. A lot of y'all was in here and extremely active from start to finish down there. Shout out Kyla, Bell, Talented Black came through. Sky Daddy Zozo, even though he's been a little combative against us, but hey, he was in here and I respect it. Will of Dreams was in here. Tornado was in here Dana the whole time. Shout out to y'all. Y'all are legends. And we can't overstate how much we appreciate some of y'all. I mean, not some of y'all, all of y'all for coming through. Even Akuma Aaron came back through. Preach, I got the website. I paused the website. It's not open right now. The site, the merch site. I just paused it because I was waiting for our next drop. But we will be doing another drop very soon with merch, probably the top of the year. And just be on the lookout for that. Any other words from anybody? Y'all good? I know JJ got something.
Did we want to say something about the awards or no? Or
You want to wait till next week? Maybe get a bigger turnout.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great stream. Appreciate everybody coming through. It was nice. Shout out to Prince. We'll holler at him next week. Hopefully y'all holler at us next week. Make sure them notifications